the best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed.
I love it here.
I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you. We see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued. We feel respected.
Lee's Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence.
I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Hello, Leath Summit. I'm Jordan. Here's your flash briefing for the week of January 20th. City Council will meet for a regular session Tuesday night at 6 in Council Chambers in City Hall. Meetings are open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. The city's Human Relations Commission will celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Friday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Missouri Innovation Campus. The theme for this year's free community-wide event is From Dream to Reality, Building the Beloved Community. The event will include keynote speakers, music and dance performances, and more, with the first 200 attendees receiving a free t-shirt. Come celebrate winter in downtown Leeth Summit for the annual Shovel the Sidewalk sale on Saturday, January 24th. Partake in doorbuster deals and winter-themed specials at over 20 different businesses. Get more details at downtownls.org. New to yoga or ready to ease back into it this year? Join the free Yoga 101 class this Sunday, January 25th at 9:30 a.m. at the Green Street Market. All levels are welcome. Just bring a yoga mat or towel. Register at greenstreetls.org. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Traditionally, we think as police officers, those responding to law enforcement needs within the community. But honestly, we are there to serve our citizens, and our citizens do go into crisis. They do have mental health crises, and we're being called to those scenes on a regular basis. In order to help serve those citizens better, we did initiate the Crisis Intervention Team Program. These are officers that are specially trained to de-escalate crisis situations. Recently, we've brought co-responders onto the scene, licensed qualified mental health professionals housed within our police department, and they respond with those officers directly to those scenes where a crisis is occurring so they can interact with that citizen and get them the help they need right there on that scene.
The co-responders are either bachelor or master level in a behavioral health related field. They wear plain clothes, they don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I have a police radio that I listen to all day. Listen for, those key words: mental health, behavioral health, crisis.
There's a lot of officers that just call for me. I have my own radio number.
I also have the ability to self-dispatch to them and say 982 is en route.
Officers en route, 914, Armstrong.
So typically I arrive after they've made it safe. I'll make contact and get kind of the rundown, and then I just kind of jump right in.
I'm like, hey, my name's Allison. I'm a mental health professional. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take you to jail or arrest you.
Sometimes all a person needs is a voice, someone neutral, someone outside that, can listen. I do a lot of safety planning, including family, their support network, who's close to you. If they're home alone, who can come over and hang out with you today? Can we lock away your sharps? Can we put up your meds? Do you need meds? Can we get you over to the urgent care to get you assessed for your medications? Some of them also are like, oh, I'm so glad you came. This made me feel so much better.
Our main goal as the co-responders is to, one, get people connected to the services that they need, and also divert from emergency rooms and jails.
And they almost get a different view of the police responding. That lets me know you care and the officers care.
Leath Summit Police, how can I help you?
My husband
In 2020, we had 722 mental health related calls for service. 2022, by that time, 1,479. These mental health related calls for service are increasing. How we're responding to that is increasing the number of crisis intervention team officers we have available, as well as the number of co-responders we have available to respond on these calls.
So what I think is important for the community to know about the co-responder program is that we're here, we exist. All you have to do when you call 911 is ask for us. You know, say, hey, I want a co-responder to respond to this crisis, and we'll go. I was really struggling about 8 years ago on my personal journey with mental health, and I met some amazing social workers and amazing programs that have helped me get to where I am today. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else. We want to help, and that's what we love to do.
So I had a client, we got a call, she had some suicidal ideations, and she really felt that she had nobody. And you know, and getting to know her story and getting to know who comes around and sees you, well then we found a support person and they responded immediately. And we made a plan. I called back and checked on her in an hour, and then I checked on her in 2 hours. We were able to get her into the additional services to where she talks to someone every week or more. I just took a person that really just thought they had nobody and nobody would show up for them, and show them you do. And you'll be amazed who is in your corner if you just simply say, I need a little help.
Lee's Summit has lots of local destinations, but where do you start? Green Street, a vibrant community space in the heart of downtown, is where Lee's Summit comes together. Its 3 dynamic areas have something for everyone. Green Street Market is a modern event venue and home to the downtown Lee's Summit Farmers Market. Green Street Lawn is a covered performance space hosting live music, family activities, and more. Green Street Grove is a mixture of gathering spaces, an immersive playground, and bold architectural features. And all 3 areas host community events year-round. So the next time you set out to enjoy the city you love, remember, meet at Green Street.
The city of Lee's Summit has hundreds of traffic lights across its more than 1,000 lane miles, all managed by the city's public works traffic technicians. The work happens inside those metal boxes on the side of each intersection. Inside, technicians program a device called the controller. The controller communicates directly with each signal head via underground wires, telling each light when to turn on and off based on a programmed cycle. City traffic engineers design this cycle to allow traffic to flow as efficiently as possible for that particular intersection. In order to best match current traffic patterns, they install something called a detection system. Detection systems have taken many forms over the years, from sensors in the pavement to radar boxes. But in Lee's Summit, they primarily consist of cameras, which workers mount above the traffic signals. These cameras don't record video or your speed. Instead, they monitor the spaces at the front of the intersection and identify when a vehicle is present in a specific spot. Once a vehicle is identified, the detection system sends a message to the controller, which then adapts its standard cycle to best serve the cars that are present. The pedestrian button works in a similar way. When the button is pressed, the controller receives a signal, requesting that it allow that section of the pedestrian walkway to go, which it then inserts into the signal pattern. Technicians also install something called a conflict monitor. The conflict monitor is a device in which they program all the potential patterns of lights that would lead to a collision. If the other systems mistakenly trigger those patterns, the conflict monitor sends the intersection into flash, causing all lights to flash red and directing drivers to treat it like an all-way stop. City traffic technicians implement and maintain these systems so effectively, we rarely consider them. But every time we safely pass through a signal-controlled intersection, it's all thanks to their work. So the next time you're waiting at a red light, remember the delicate coordination of super smart systems that move you through that space safely and efficiently every day.
Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. I love where you guys are coming from. You're local and you're all kind of coming together. But where I'm struggling with from the last time that we talked about this, I think it was maybe October.
I actually grew up in my district. We moved here my sophomore year in high school. My parents still live in the same house, and I just went through high school here and then have stayed in Lee's Summit ever since. The neighborhood that my parents live in is Canterbury. My favorite thing, and I still do to this day, is I love to go running. They have the best sidewalks. I feel like you can go for days. So now I still get to do that. Since I live not too far from them, I get to use those same routes that I took during high school, and it's just fun. All right, let's see it, Jess. Go. big soccer family. I love sports, I love to watch sports, and it's even more fun to watch sports when my kids are in it. I coach my middle daughter Josie's team. I have since kindergarten. We do the basketball, we do softball, we're gonna do volleyball, and it's just so much fun. Something that I would like to accomplish while on city council is to get more family activities here. You know, I don't want to have to be driving my family to, say, the Kansas side or any other city but my own. And I want to be able to invest in our city and make family memories in our city.
Open the public hearing in the matter of K1 Speed, Diventures,
Crack Shack, Blue Jeans Golf.
I just want to say thank you for bringing us to Leath Sundays. I grew up at this. My grandpa would take us there, so I'm excited that now I can take my kids there.
Bill number 23-0, pre-construction services for the downtown Market Plaza project.
I'm just as excited as everybody else about the downtown marketplace. I'm extremely excited about the community that it's going to bringing more family things to do to the city and right in the heart of it.
When you presented the numbers, the first time you came to us, it was 25.5%, and then
you know, people were like, oh, you know, being on council, it's not a lot of work, I think it was a bit of a surprise when there's so much info that you realize you just don't know. Even something as simple as sidewalks. It's like you don't realize how much goes into something like that. After a couple months, I'm like, okay, I'm finally, you know, catching the groove of how things work, learning new things, but also feel like I've got some things under my belt as well. It's been a great experience so far.
Can everyone please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and the blessing it holds. Guide our hearts with kindness, our words with wisdom, and our steps with purpose. May we honor you in all that we do. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. She's not? Okay. I'd like to call the City Council regular session number 61 meeting into order. Can I please have roll call?
Councilmember Hodges.
Here.
Councilmember Rader.
Present.
Councilmember Pryor.
Here.
Councilmember Shields.
Here.
Councilmember Funk.
Here.
Councilmember Lovell.
Here.
Councilmember Carlisle. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Baird.
Thank you. Councilmember Carlisle and Mayor Baird are not here with us tonight, so I will be pinch hitting. So welcome. With that being said, we'll go straight into the agenda, and we need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion's been made, Councilmember Hodges, and a second by Councilmember Shields. Please cast your vote. Councilmember Pryor. Computer's a little slow, but yes, motion passes. The agenda is approved. Takes us into the approval of the consent agenda. We have motions been made by Councilmember Hodges and a second by Councilmember Rader. Any discussion? If not, please cast your vote. Consent agenda is approved, 7-0. Thank you. Takes us into Council Roundtable. Yes, Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Mr. Dunning, could you give us an update? I know we've been working with our partners at Jackson County in regards to several different items going on over there. If you could give us a quick update for our citizens.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councilmember Funk. Last week, Mayor Baird and Mayor Pro Tem and I had a collaborative meeting with County Executive Lavoda and County Manager Mr. Arbo about how, things that the municipality, City of Lee Summit, and the county could be working on. Tax collection services was one of those topics. Over time, the city was able to collect and actually correct taxes here at the city at one point in time, and then that ability to correct taxes was peeled back, and so we could take tax payments for correct tax bills, and then there was a computer glitch with the system, and then since that time we've not been able to do that. But telling you how to build a watch here, but we did have a good meeting, and there is an interest in putting back in place that ability to collect taxes here at City Hall. We know that's a huge convenience to many, and it helps the county out too. So there was a commitment to look further into that and see if we could make that happen. So more to come. It wouldn't happen anytime real soon because the county has changed their systems and a lot of things in place, but we're looking into it to see if we can get that back up and running. So that was one of the topics that we talked about. And so hopefully we can get back into providing that service.
Thank you, Mr. Dunning. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So a couple of items coming up in downtown. So they're going to have this Shovel the Sidewalk sale at our downtown businesses this Saturday. And then I believe Sunday is going to be yoga at Green Street. So some great community events available for folks. Thanks.
Excellent. Are you going to that?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Is that a challenge for all of us?
I mean, if y'all are brave enough. I don't know.
It's a tough sport.
I won't hold it against Councilmember Hodges, but the rest of you.
You're excused. All right, thank you very much. That takes us to public comments. We have 3 people that have signed up that I've received notices on, and we will start in alphabetical order. We'll start with Mr. Alshawish.
Office Depot was unable to print, so we got to do part of this from my phone. So currently, our municipal court system is in disarray. In November, our judges came before you requesting a modest pay increase to justify expanding court operations from 2 days to 4 days per week. This is something the residents desperately need for efficient and timely processing. Now, instead of supporting this reasonable request, the response was not just denial, but outright hostility at some points during the discussion. Our first responders are facing similar disrespect. The rollout of a new payroll software has been chaotic, resulting in incorrect paychecks, underpayments, miscalculated overtime, and wrong deductions. This creates real stress and financial uncertainty for the families of the men and women who serve Leath Summit. And these issues are still occurring today, 6 months after the rollout. On top of that, negotiations for a simple cost of living adjustment have dragged on for far too long, with city leadership seemingly holding a raise over our first responders' heads during an election year. In 2022, the voters approved a public safety sales tax specifically to fund police and fire needs. Where has that money gone, and why aren't we able to support the very people that tax was meant to help? I think the real issue here is priorities. City leadership does not prioritize first responders, or the courts, or roadway maintenance, or water infrastructure. They prioritize unnatural, unwanted, and heavily subsidized growth. And the growth they are subsidizing is primarily apartments and commercial developments. And I find it concerning that the city has a tax for public safety that generated $26 million last year, but they aren't able to come up with a cost of living adjustment for the first responders. However, on the other hand, the city is able to find plenty of money for developer subsidies. $640 million in subsidies approved since 2019. That averages $91 million per year. If you compare that to the period from 2000 to 2019, we only averaged $10 million per year in approved subsidies. This means under Baird and Beto's leadership, we have been subsidizing at nearly 10 times the rate that we did for the 2 decades prior. You know, recently, you denied an $89,000 abatement for a company, and many of you cited concerns for taxpayer money as your justification. Did you know you could give that company $89,000 every single day for the next 19 years, and it still wouldn't add up to the $640 million in subsidies you approved since 2019? It reminds me of the Pharisees in Matthew 23. You strain out a gnat, but you swallow a camel. How can we justify these massive corporate giveaways while courts limp along at 2 days a week, our first responders battle against payroll errors and stalled raises, and our basic public services continue to go underfunded? These developers are not investing in Leath Summit. They are asking Leath Summit to invest in them, and that's what you've been doing. You've been investing in them at the expense of the taxpayer, and at the expense of our first responders, and at the expense of basic public services, which should be the city's top priority.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Elson.
Hello, Andrew Elson, 504 Northwest Timber Ridge Trail. I just wanted to thank you last week for your comments at the end of the meeting last week. It was well received. I wasn't able to stick around, and then I've had some email exchanges with you, and I appreciate that, and I look forward, my comments were on the public comment process last week, and I look forward to those improvements. I hear they are in work. I have a different topic tonight, so good evening. I'm here tonight to ask whether we've lost sight of the fundamental goal of the IGNITE strategic plan. We are seeing plenty of activity right now, but the IGNITE plan did not challenge us simply to build more projects. It challenged us to solve a specific crisis. The fact that roughly 80% of our workforce leaves this city every day to find career-sustaining wages. In the resilient economy pillar, you correctly identified that we are exporting our highest wage talent because we lack sufficient Class A office space to keep them here. Yet with approvals like Oldham and East Village, we are falling short of that mission by prioritizing low-wage retail instead. The IGNITE plan calls for targeting industries like professional, scientific, and technical services, roles that pay $50 to $60 an hour and more. Instead, we continue to subsidize retail. Retail does bring sales tax, but Class A office space brings disposable income. An engineer earning $120,000 a year spends more in our local economy than a commuter earning $40,000. The purchasing power and the sales tax that follows tracks with high-wage jobs. There's also a math problem in the way we pair retail with housing. A retail employee earning $30 an hour grosses about $5,200. Financially sound housing should cost no more than 30%, about $1,560. Yet the luxury apartments approved with these same projects will likely rent for $1,800 to $2,200. That raises an uncomfortable but necessary question. Who is the live part of these developments actually for? If the people working on site cannot afford to live there, so I said live, we are not building community, we are subsidizing a commute. This brings me to our most critical remaining asset. The LDS church property represents nearly 4,000 acres, about 10,000 of Leath Summit land, about 10% of Leath Summit's land mass. That's our strategic reserve. I applaud the Class A office space at Discovery Park, but at 268 acres, it's not enough to reverse an 80% commuter deficit. The LDS lands give us a once-in-a-generation opportunity to do that at scale. The office market is selective right now, but we're seeing a clear flight to quality. Companies want modern Class A space, exactly what we lack. If the right development is not ready today, we must have the discipline to wait to define clear standards. Waiting is not inaction, it is protecting our inventory. I'm asking you to return to the foundation of the plan you approved. Stop referring to retail corridors as the good job solution, treating our remaining land as the prize it is, and reserve incentives for projects that deliver high-wage, Class A economic growth. We have enough places to shop. We need a place to work. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker we have is Ms. Bowlin-Whiter. Ms. Bowlin-Whiter.
Teresa Vollenweiter, 5201 Northeast Maybrook Road. I'm talking again tonight about 3420 Southwest Pryor Road and 3530 Southwest Pryor Road. And that was the rezoning for Paula Deal. That occurred back in 2018. This that I have up on the screen is the Lee's Summit zoning map. And so if you see, this is Paula Deal's piece that goes up and then goes this way. So she's within this CDO, which I'm guessing is a community improvement district. I haven't read the information on that yet, but it may have something to do with property taxes, assessments, and sales tax. If so, then that starts to explain why this has never been changed back to 2 lots. Because there still is no plat. And if there is no plat, then rezoning never occurred. Yet this is showing that the rezoning occurred because her pieces are no longer R1 and ag. They're all ag. It is all ag. So it shows it with the city, and it shows it with the county, because if you see approximate parcel area is 15.2 acres, that's the 2 added together. If I click here, it's not showing me, but there are 2 addresses on this parcel. So those have been combined by the county. And if I show you the picture, you can tell from that those have been combined by the county. So yes, my guess will be that the county, because that is 1 parcel now, but it should be 2 because there is no plat. County's is going to raise her taxes. The other thing I want to point out is this. This is from a Surveyors Connect website. And they're talking about plats. And I would like to just finish this, if I may.
Give you a minute.
The planning folks love having the power they do. Do something to take away even a tiny bit of that power, and they will fight tooth and nail to stop you. What they don't seem to realize is that if I record a plat, a surveyor, a licensed surveyor records a plat that violates the law, the board can revoke my license. I can lose my ability to earn a living. If a planning official breaks the law, what happens? Nothing. Not a thing. So why should they care about the law? They don't. That is the essence of the problem. Planning and development needs skin in the game. Those planners need skin in the game.
Thank you.
They're making surveyors do things they shouldn't, as well as engineers.
All right, we'll proceed with the agenda. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation from LS 26, LS Goal 26 for a funding request. I believe, yes, Ms. Lake.
Alrighty, good afternoon, Donna Lake, Assistant City Manager, and I'm here to present on, or introduce tonight's presentation on LS Goal 26, which will be a review of the success of the Draw Day event that we held in December, provide a vision for similar community events, and then propose a partnership between LS Goal 26 and the city. So what is LS Goal 26? It is a nonprofit volunteer-led corporation that was formed after many community members started meeting to try to capture some excitement around the events of World Cup coming in June of this year now. So the goals of LS Goal 26 really are trying to highlight Lee Summit as a welcoming community, plan some activities that are coordinated and engaging for the public, whether it's visitors or our own residents, and facilitate civic involvement and improve the welfare of the community. The board of directors is made up of city staff, community members, and then representation from our chamber, downtown Main Street, and tourism. And then we've had so many volunteers that are interested and have been part of this process that we were able to create the 10 different teams that you see on the screen that are all volunteers in this process, and really looking at how can we leverage World Cup and events around World Cup and kind of frame that in under this one cohesive umbrella related to whether it's food and beverage and providing opportunities around our city and some information around our city, welcoming, beautification, wayfinding in transportation and infrastructure, and then looking at marketing safety and how do we ensure that the events that we do plan as a community for our community are viewing all of the things that we value as a community and then make sure that we have family-friendly, safe events. So I will introduce now Jackie McCormick-Hainu, who will take you through the rest of the presentation.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having us tonight. Jackie McCormick-Hainu. As Donna mentioned, I am on the board of directors for LS Goal 26. Here to kind of give you an overview. I also have a couple of fellow board members who are going to be doing a little bit of our presentation tonight as it applies to our draw day and what our football Fridays will hopefully look like. So it's been a bit since we have been before you as a group. Suffice it to say, a lot has happened since then. We won't go into details of all of the activities that have happened in those stakeholder group meetings, to our individual team meetings, to the work of the board, because we just don't have time for all of that. But suffice it to say, it has been extensive. We do want to highlight a few of the more functional tasks that have taken place since we last saw you, because there has been a lot that's occurred that's helped give some consistency and stability to our organization, and want to make sure that we also give you some updates on our very successful draw day event that was held on December 5th at the beautiful Green Street. So since we last saw you, the legal entity of LS Goal 26 was formed with the state of Missouri. Bylaws were written and approved by the board of directors, and those bylaws establish and govern not only our board composition, but all of its operations, how we pay bills, what decisions we make with regard to financing, those sorts of things. We did obtain liability insurance, and we established some parameters to ensure that all of our events and activities would be covered within the scope of that insurance. We also have options should we expand what we're doing or have additional volunteers, things like that, to make sure that we have opportunities to cover those issues should those needs exist in the future. We applied for and very recently learned within the last couple of weeks that our 501c4 nonprofit status through the IRS was accepted. And this was a significant cause for celebration, because if you've ever been through anything like that, those applications are very onerous and very challenging. Delays are not uncommon, but we received it in less than 6 months. So that was a really nice win for us. We were very excited about it. Our board of directors is generally meeting on a biweekly basis right now, and we are establishing the framework for all of our committees to be able to carry out their activities with their stakeholders. We've conducted substantial research on all of the opportunities that are available to communities within the Kansas City metro area, like Leath Summit, for hosting events tied to that international soccer celebration that's going to be coming in June and July. And the members of our board, particularly some of city staff, are in very regular contact with members of KC 2026, the regional initiative for World Cup. They're regularly attending those community meetings, participating in the forums designed to help keep stakeholders involved and engaged, and up to date about all things FIFA, which is a moving target and a constantly changing battle, by the way. In fact, I do want to point out that we have the opportunity to showcase the amazing Green Street Marketplace and lawn for our upcoming February meeting of KC 2026, and we think that that's a really great win for Leath Summit, because representatives from the entire metro area representing their community groups for 2026 World Cup efforts will be here to see everything that our venue has to offer. So we're very excited about that. So understand that in this effort, there is still a lot that we do not know, okay? We're getting information from KC 2026 as quickly as they get it, which is kind of in drips from FIFA. They're the ones who control everything. And as my friend Laura Maxwell, who is going to be presenting to you in just a little bit, likes to say, we are building the plane while we fly it, so to speak. So we're not alone in that. Everyone in the region, everyone who's dealing with FIFA is doing the same thing right now. So just recognize that our efforts have been very intentional, but they're also intentionally flexible. We're working hard to try and focus our objectives of not only providing unique and compelling opportunities for the residents of Leath Summit to participate in all of these activities centered around this once-in-a-lifetime experience that we have, but also to have an option for guests from outside of our region to draw tourism in and business for our community, both in the immediacy of the event and hopefully in the form of return or repeat guests or sharing information with others, okay? In fact, we are very excited to have learned recently that we will be the location of not one, but two of the shuttle areas for the shuttling back and forth from FanFest, and that is going to be, I believe, and you guys can correct me when when you come up here, but I believe one of them is going to be located here in downtown Lee's Summit on Market between 2nd and 3rd Street. The other one will be the commuter parking lot by Dave Cross. So it is Bob Site. It is our hope that the economic impact to our community from all of these efforts, from all of these opportunities, will be not only substantial, but hopefully lasting. It's worth noting that Lee's Summit, in all of these groups where KC 2026 is concerned, is being talked about as the gold standard for our planning and volunteer efforts, and we are very proud of that. We've worked very hard, and we take that as a great honor. Other communities have already garnered support from their municipal partners and are in the process of planning their events and activities just like we are. Some examples, we know that Leawood, Kansas was offered $750,000 towards their Leawood for the Goal community initiative, and that is going to feature 2 match day events, a soccer tournament, business readiness grants, and some other community impacts. Pitch Lenexa is another group that is working on developing plans to host 3 free community events in the form of watch parties, and those will be held at the Lenexa City Center. So you'll hear our proposal for events tied to these celebrations a little bit later in our presentation, but rest assured that we have been working diligently too to try and create pragmatic, responsible events and activities for not only our residents, but also our visitors. So I want to give an example of our draw day event. You're going to hear about that a little bit later. Laura's going to present it, the findings or the outcomes of that. The total implementation costs were far less than the $10,000 sponsorship that we received for it. So I'm going to segue into sponsorships really quick and talk a little bit about the fundraising efforts that we've had so far. I just want to be intentional in speaking with you that, again, we are trying to be very respectful and responsible about what we're asking for and the resources that we're being afforded, both from community partners, businesses, and the city. So we're trying to ensure that we're working as hard as we can to find that broad base of support, that we're not looking for everything from one source. We're taking as many opportunities as we can. So to date, we have secured financial sponsorships totaling, as you can see on the screen, $35,000. Our pitch side partner is Explore LS, and our draw day sponsor was Sporting LS. We were especially grateful for their commitment and the contribution and support that they've provided to us, as well as the faith that they placed in us in providing these events. We also wanted to make mention of all of the in-kind contributions, in no small part the City of Lee's Summit for allowing us the opportunity to use the Green Street Marketplace and lawn, which was a phenomenal opportunity. Also the Crossroads Sound, which was the band that played Fossil Forge Design, B&T Specialties, Agency 1010, Checklist Media, Dyer Oil Graphics were all partners in marketing, and Explore LS, Downtown Main Street, Chamber of Commerce, and Lee's Summit Parks and Recreation were, of course, our community partners and sponsors. So I am now going to turn it over to Laura Maxwell, who's going to provide a little bit more detail for you on the Draw Day event and what it took to bring it together and produce it for our community.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie, and it's a pleasure to be here in front of you guys tonight talking about one of the things that excites me the most about our community, and that's collaboration. Because when you think about this community, you think about the work that happens as a result of our community's commitment to collaboration, it's pretty impressive. And when you consider the fact that we sat as a board and talked about Football Fridays and what was going to happen next summer, and how could we get our arms around what that could look like, while at the same time making sure that we were producing an event that would be feasible and sustainable, we had to have collaboration. And as Jackie mentioned, we've had a number of city employees and, most importantly, a cast representative of about 150 local stakeholders who have helped with this. So thinking through World Cup coming in the spring and knowing that we wanted to have these 5 events that you'll hear about more in just a little bit from John Ellis, we knew we needed a little bit of a dry run, because with those events being back to back to back, you can't really take time to learn and modify and correct for action when your next event is the next week. So we knew that with Draw Day on December 5th, we had the opportunity to do a little litmus test of what is the community support? What do our residents think about soccer? What do they think about the World Cup coming to Lee's Summit? Will they support it? And so on October 29, we stood before that community group of 150 stakeholders and said, hey guys, we have a dry run idea, a draw day event on December 5th. If you're good with math, October 29 to December 5th is about 6 weeks. In 6 weeks' time, we coalesced, we collaborated, and we pulled together an event that hosted over 800 people. When we were standing it up during those 5 to 6 weeks of preparation, we weren't totally sure. I mean, as Jackie mentioned, I'm fond of saying we're building the plane while we're flying it, because we've not had a worldwide event of this magnitude in our city. So opportunities abound, but also trying to figure things out as we go. So to have over 800 folks come and spend, on average, with us 100 minutes was pretty impressive. And as she also mentioned, we did have a budget of $10,000 from our sponsor, and we were well within the bounds of that and our fiscal responsibility to the team. We ended up spending only about $6,300. So as part of our initial plan, we thought, we're trying to go small. We'll do an evening celebration. We'll have a community event. It's the holidays. We'll have all kinds of opportunities for families and kids. But when we stood before that team on October 29, we had a small faction of folks who said, you know what, draw day itself, the draw begins at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We really would like to have a presence. And so we had a couple of folks who were passionate about that, and we said, okay, but we've got so much energy leverage toward that evening event, we need you to take it and run. So we had about 3 folks on our team who said, let's make it happen. They worked with Levante Tacos, had a food option for folks who wanted to have lunch, and as you can see by the picture on the left, we had about 75 to 100 people who showed up for that morning, early afternoon event, which was pretty impressive. Those are going to be your hardcore Lee Summit folks who are in World Cup for being soccer fans and really rooting for a particular country. So moving on to the evening event, we had, as mentioned previously, over 800 folks in attendance. We were blessed to have media there throughout the night. John Ellis and I had the opportunity to stand with Caitlin Canute and talk with her. Our audience reach for that, according to what the metrics tell us, is about 88,000 people in the metro saw those outreaches. And the value of that marketing for our community was almost $10,000. So small event, stood up in 6 weeks, seems to have had a really good response from our city. Moving on to the next slide, I want to touch just briefly on some of the partnerships that we had. You can see on the right, kids having fun. As Jackie mentioned, Sporting Lee Summit was the primary sponsor, and they sent a huge cadre of their employees and student athletes to come and support the games that we had outside. One of the really key components, I feel, to the magnitude of our soccer community is the fact that the Comets heard residually that we were having this event and approached us about getting involved. And so not only did they come that night and bring players, but they sent Comet the dog, who's pictured there on the left, and they brought giveaways, tickets, swag, and they had players there to sign autographs. Not only that, the next week they offered our team of LS Goal 26 tickets to one of their games and provided a cake for us, which is really cool. So we look forward to the continued partnership with them moving forward. You can also see in the picture on the right, I think that's John Garlow, if I'm seeing it correctly, sporting one of our handy-dandy scarves. We did have 100 scarves that we had for sale that night. It was a sellout, so we've ordered 100 more and plan to sell those at that February 17 meeting of KC 2026 over at Green Street. And then we also hope to have an online store where those will sell as well. Other activities that night included a prediction wall and just an opportunity for families to come and enjoy what you guys get to see on a weekly basis, and that's this beautiful venue outside. Jackie also mentioned KC 2026, thinking that we are the gold standard. And I would just point out that as we prepare to host that February 17 meeting, where we will be able to articulate our 5 Football Fridays and hopefully engage those regional visitors, because all those folks who will be there, we're hoping to have between 75 and 100 folks at that meeting. And at that time, those folks are representing everywhere from St. Joe to Belton to Blue Springs. And they're going to hear about our Football Fridays, so that regional awareness of what we're doing will grow as well. And in the KC 2026 Community Activation Playbook, we are listed as a do, which I think is huge. Out of all the communities that they are engaging with, to have used our logo and be willing to talk about what we're doing in Lee's Summit as a good example of what communities ought to do is pretty special. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend John Ellis, who's going to share a little bit more with you about Football Fridays.
So I'll make this pretty quick. I want to just talk a little bit about what the vision is. And the vision right now is to really take what we did with Draw Day and repeat it in the summer months, which we think that it's going to be a much bigger, better opportunity just because of the weather on that. I think it was like 30 degrees on that December day out there, and it was still, all the kids were running around and having a great time. So I think the big thing is take advantage of each of those Fridays, really kick off downtown again on those Friday nights, and make sure that we can really bring the excitement, not only for what we have downtown, be a really kind of a place for people to gather and be able to enjoy the rest of downtown as well, really partaking in a lot of the different businesses that are down here as well. So I think the best part about it is just having the iconic place of Green Street really in its opening. This gives us a lot of opportunity not only for us to host these events here, but to really have an opportunity to show it to the whole region. And I think that's probably the coolest part about it. We were really impressed with what we got with the media coverage on that the first event, and we think it's going to continue to even be more. And so with these, with each of these events, we want them to look different. We have different themes with each of them as well. As a matter of fact, I think we have one of them tied in with art, the art walk with Donnie on there as well. So I got to, which one do I click, the right? I think the, okay. And then what we really want to do is make sure that we're bringing people around from all over, and we're really a regional partner in making sure that we're doing it the right way. And I think that's what Lee's Summit's all about, is having a plan and a vision, getting the support together, and making sure that we're trying to figure out how we can do it the right way and really show that to the rest of the world too. So we know that we're going to have a lot of different events going on. I think the biggest thing is that we want to have them where we can get the kids and families and everybody involved in utilizing that space, and it's such a perfect opportunity. And at the same time, we know we have several sponsors, potential sponsors, that are on the book right now that will be bringing other money to the table as well. And so it's all a little bit of a moving target, as you know. We've got a couple of things that we just don't know exactly what the costs are going to be, and probably the biggest thing is the viewing rights for FIFA. And so that's the largest budget item that is unknown. And we've got a general idea, but of what it could be, and we're hopeful that it's not going to be that as much as we're even thinking. But I think tonight we really want to let you know we need kind of a backup plan and your support, not only in the facility, but also some financial help as a potential, only if we can't cover some of the costs on that with our sponsorships that we're doing. So I think we just want to have you consider to be available with us as a community partner, to be listed not only as a sponsor, but the premier, the sponsor on the whole events. There's set of events. And so by being really the primary sponsor, the big thing that we're looking for is the event space of Green Street and all of the things that go along with it, and for each of the different football Fridays, and then really knowing that we may have a cost and it might be up to $100,000, we just don't know. If it doesn't cost that much, we won't need those funds. We'll be able to cover that. But I think for right now, we want to at least let you know we may have that kind of a need for funding. So we will know more. What we did find out just recently, we turned in the application on it, and we did find out that the fee will cover all of the Fridays or all of the showings on it. So it's just one fee for the whole thing. And so these again are some of the pictures of the just downtown Main Street, the food trucks and all that. We know we're at the tip of the iceberg as far as being able to show off Green Street and Lee's Summit, and we know we can do a lot more with the people that we have helping us on our team. I think that's the other cool part about what we've been able to bring together with the community is just a lot of people that have been engaged, and they come, they go. I have people that reached out to me and met with me today that were just kind of wanting to know more about it, and they actually had Airbnb questions on it and what was going on with the city and all that stuff. And it was great to have our proactive conversations about all of that, so we as a group can actually help share all that information with them as well. So I think our whole goal is let us help you show what Lee's Summit's all about and what Green Street is and downtown Lee's Summit is, and the people that are involved, and help us show what makes Lee's Summit a really great place to not only to live, but a great place to be engaged and be a part of the whole community too. So if you have any questions, I think we'd take those if you have any.
Yes, we do. We'll start off with Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So when you talk about the licensing fees, so that's the fee that you have to pay to be able to show the games in a public setting, right? Depending
Correct.
on whether
Yep.
the size of your venue, and if you're having sponsorships, if you're considered a commercial event, then you have to pay FIFA basically, or pay Fox or whoever it is to show it.
It's
Okay.
I think it's all through FIFA.
Okay.
Yes.
And we just don't know how much those are going to be yet. Like, you're assuming, and I've been on the law subcommittee of this group, so we've sort of looked at what they did for Club Cup, looked at what it was with the last World Cup. So we assume it's going to be more than $1,000, but we don't know how many orders of magnitude more, right?
Yeah, we know last year it was $12,500, I think, for their license fee. Is that right? Do you have that?
Based on the, I believe on Club World Cup, I think it was $20,000, is that right? 12,000, sorry, 12,500, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, and my understanding is there's sort of a educated guess that it'll be more than that, since this is the World Cup and it's a bigger deal, but we just don't know how much, and you're trying to be able to kind of plan for the future with that uncertainty, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, I've been thinking this through quite a bit, because I really want to be a good partner. I think this is a great event for the Metro. I think it's a great event for Lee's Summit. I want to bring in visitors, but I've just been trying to think through what makes the most sense for us to do as a city. I really like the idea of using Green Street. It's an amazing asset, amazing facility. It's perfect for this. So I'm absolutely on board with the use of that for no cost, and throwing in the janitorial services. And of course, like any of our kind of large public events, that, you know, we assume that there will be a public safety component, that we're prepared for that. I'm good with all that. But that possible question mark $100,000 price tag is a little bit much for me. Part of why is I've been thinking this through, and if the licensing fee did come into the, you know, high five figures or something like that, would it be better just to have a festival without a giant screen and just take that money and put on an amazing event to draw people to downtown, and then say, you're here, your kid's been playing soccer, like the pictures you did at the Draw Day event, this is amazing, Now go across the street to one of our amazing bars and restaurants and watch the game on their screen and
Yeah.
pay to eat
Yeah,
food and
yeah.
drink beer and all that kind of stuff.
You're
what-
right, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's a point in there where it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where our group will want to assess that, and I think we just want to be good stewards. Obviously, Laura was even saying, we want to be good stewards of the money that's in this, and so it's not our intent just to overspend, just to be able to have it on there. So I really do think that there will be a point, if it gets to be to where it's just too much. That's exactly, I think, the
Yeah,
path
maybe
that we'll have to
there
go.
is some flexibility to shift to an event that doesn't involve
The showing.
licensing fees, but could still attract people to the city.
But we also know the showing is a big deal, especially I think it's July 3rd where there's actually a game, a match going on that day, right? At that same time where we are planning the event.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those matches on those Fridays are later in the evening though, aren't they? Are there? do we know when they're
Quite a
gonna
few
be?
of them are, yes. The majority of them are later, some are even earlier in the day, and some are like the next day. And we didn't try to tie to just what Kansas City is hosting.
Yeah,
but just
and that's
games.
fine. I guess the reason I ask is like if a game isn't on until 8 or 9 p.m.,
Mhm.
the kind of family-friendly demographic that we think we can pull in, that we're hoping to pull in, kind of ties back to like our whole LS tourism presentation last week of
Yep.
who our kind of target visitor is. They may not be the type to come and start watching a game outside at 8 or 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thinking through and like, partly, I don't actually want to micromanage this. Like, I want you guys to plan it. That's why this organization exists. But I do see that there could be some space for flexibility. And I'd be curious to hear what my colleagues say, but kind of what I've been thinking is like maybe we give you from the city use of Green Street plus janitorial service plus public safety, all the support we would give to any kind of event downtown. And then a $25,000 budget to use at your discretion for a list of approved expenses. So like if you want to spend that on licensing fees, fine. If you think it'd be more effective to spend it on music and soccer goals and decorations and whatever, that just to so that I'm not up here trying to plan this event for you, but I say like my expectation as a city is you put on 5 free public events that attract both locals and regional visitors to downtown to, stimulate our economy and promote a great image of Lee's Summit. Basically, all the stuff you have in the PSA about how great this is going to be for Lee's Summit. That my expectation is that you take that money and you put on these events. If that means you have a giant screen showing the game and events related to that, that's fine. If that means you have food trucks and face painting and music, that's fine. Like I want you guys to figure that out, but I'd sort of like to say, here's the budget, here's the expectation, and then you figure out what the best trade-off is between licensing fees and other opportunities and looking at what other sponsorships you have and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's well said.
yeah.
I think
But I'd be
that's-
curious to see if my colleagues are kind of on the same page with me or where you guys feel is a reasonable commitment for us. 'Cause I know we've all talked about this, what a great opportunity is and how we want to be good partners, but that's kind of what I've been thinking on. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, so I can go along with some of the things that Councilmember Shields is saying. However, so really what you're doing is you're asking us to give Green Street pretty much as in kind with, facilities and services and all that kind of stuff. But my question is, I guess for staff too, is that where would we get the money? If we decided that we were going to, stipulate a $25,000 help for them, where would that money come from?
So one of the areas that we had looked at, we thought this was a good fit for the business and industry tax, that B&I tax, because we support a lot of our community partners in that way. And so we thought this might be a good opportunity for some of those funds.
And we've got reserves?
Yes.
Okay. Want to be sure. People will ask.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think that, that sounds, I think that sounds reasonable with, giving them kind of a stipend of $25,000 to get them started in the Green Street. Hopefully we can help facilitate that. So I think that sounds reasonable and then whatever else other colleagues have to say about that. So Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate that. Councilmember Shields, you have more comments?
Yeah, actually, just to follow up on a good comment of Councilmember Rader's, which is the BNI fund. I'd sort of figured that might be what we'd be talking about. What is the current fund balance? And I know, just for background of the public, right now, we had a kind of a sizable fund balance. We've been in a little bit of a deficit budget with that, in that we have been funding our PSAs, Downtown Main Street, EDC, and the Tourism Bureau. We've been giving them more per year than that fund is currently bringing in, with the hope that over the next few years, including with things like World Cup, that we would see new hotels come online, see those revenues increase, and then reevaluate after a couple of years. So where are we at with that fund balance right now, and how would this impact it? Because those are good questions.
Yeah.
You might just rattle off the number.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had a document I was pulling up, but currently, our fund balance for actuals for FY '25 is, well, the budget for, the fund balance in the budget for FY '26 is $1,323,674. So that's.
So you have 1.3 million in the balance right now, and then what's that projected to be at the end of this year after we deficit spend a little bit?
Well, that is the number.
That's the projection for the
Yeah,
end
the
of the year.
projection for the end of the year.
Okay.
Sorry.
And it's been a while since we had this presentation in finance and budget, but that's still on a very sustainable path for the next few years until we have our big evaluation that we kind of planned. I see Mr. Dunning nodding, so I assume that's
that would be a yes.
okay. So it sounds like we have the capacity to do that, but we still want to be very conscious of how we're spending those funds, because we do have kind of a larger strategy that we're pursuing of trying to promote tourism and growth in that fund. We don't want to shortchange those other partners if we.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And we wouldn't do that. And I think it could be structured, a number of different ways. I think, the biggest request, it sounds like, is that licensing fee, and what that is. It's just there's so much uncertainty right now about what that will be, and so that's where.
And I
who
understand,
knows where
but I
that
think,
will
like,
land?
But I like what
Yeah.
I kind of prefer. It
And the
sounds like
in-kind.
Councilmember Rader might be on board. We'll see what other council members say. Is
Yeah.
A smaller amount, but with more flexibility. Up to $25,000 for all different kinds of programming, depending on what they choose to prioritize. So, but again, kind of.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good, and
We'll hear from some other council colleagues. Councilmember Funk?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I agree. I think I would be in support of the in-kind donation of Green Street and the services over there. I also like the idea of a $25,000 start, and let's see where it goes and how it grows into, what other types of programming you want to do. If it is the total licensing agreement, if it's maybe other options that you have there to use that $25,000, and we see how it starts to lift off. So I'd be in support of that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I might. I got one other
Sure,
thing.
go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
So I want to just confirm that that licensing fee is for all matches. So if you pay it once, you get it for everything.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of just knowing structurally how it's designed, that gives us some idea of how that's presented. And then I guess, just as what we're doing, I like the idea of getting a start, but keeping in touch and letting you know what's circling back if we find out what, if it is a lot more than what we're thinking. And one of the hangups on this whole thing, if the city does it itself and has no other support, I'm not even sure if the city would have a licensing fee. Is that right? I think it's our sponsors. I think it's because we have sponsors that are wanting to help out with it, that is requiring the licensing fee, because we actually have other sponsors helping with some of that. And so there's just language in it that's a little bit confusing, and I know Jackie might have more detail on that.
So while she's coming up, Mr. Allison, I know we have some other council people that have more questions.
Okay.
Just to clarify, when you say matches, are you saying matches of the ones here locally
No,
or matches across the?
everything.
Everywhere, okay.
So the public viewing regulations that we just received when we submitted the application to be a public viewing entity provided us with the licensee regulations for public viewing events. There are different categories of public viewing events. There's commercial, non-commercial, and special non-commercial. What John was referring to is the fact that because we have already obtained sponsorships and because we intend to use sponsorships, whether they're in kind or otherwise, in order to provide all of the other stuff that we want to provide for all of these Football Fridays, it kicks it into a commercial requirement, which means you have to buy the license. If it was a purely non-commercial event, you wouldn't have to buy the license. You also couldn't do all the other stuff. So it's kind of we have to make a choice, right? We give up one thing to get the other, or we do both. So that's kind of the structure of where we are in terms of what that means. But the event, the fee structure very clearly states that a commercial public viewing event, which is what we're talking about right now, license, is valid for all matches of the competition. So it's not just for the USA game, it's not just for the game on June 12th, it's for all matches of the competition. So you pay it once, we don't know what it is, but you pay it once, and then you can use the license for all those matches.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. We do have a couple more questions. Councilmember Lovell.
So you just mentioned, so you're saying if we don't get the TV license, we can't have
We can't show the matches. We can have parties, we
can
can't
have
show the
parties.
matches.
Okay. And what's the time frame on, funding this? And, let's say we didn't make a decision tonight, like what is the date? Like when will those licenses come available, and then how quickly, like what is the time frame to either to buy those or decide if you want to buy those, or?
Yeah, we're building plane while it's flying.
Right, so we don't.
We wish we knew.
We don't know, right, we don't know for sure. Okay, so just my thoughts. I think what you guys have done as a volunteer group to really spearhead this is fantastic. I think, first of all, just in the presentation, which again, I wouldn't necessarily put on you guys, but I also think like from our perspective, more clarity on the funding sources would have been important in this kind of presentation to show like, hey, we're asking for this. This is where it's coming from. I'm glad we were able to sift through some of those questions. I don't want to do anything that cannibalizes business for our downtown business owners, because the whole idea behind this is creating experiences and events that drive business. I do know we have, 3 other PSAs. We've got EDC, Chamber, Downtown Main Street. I assume.
Chamber's not.
No, I'm sorry. That's right. But I would, as a stakeholder and kind of what goes on, I would be interested in knowing, I guess, I'm assuming they're in support of all this, but maybe more feedback from them as to, again, like making sure what we're creating, accomplishes those goals of getting people down here to enjoy these spaces and then driving business, which I think it probably does whether you show the matches or you don't. The only other thing I would say is like, I'm not keen on just a check and kind of figure it out. I'm more keen on, here's like, if you guys come as a PSA, like, here's our budget. Like, here's our sponsorships. Here's what we think it's going to cost. Yes, we're flying the plane while we build it. But rather than just say like, here's $25,000, then it comes back, we want to get these TV rights now, and it's more. I would just feel more comfortable if we're going to create a new PSA and we're going to provide some funding, that there's just more clarity in the sponsorship money that you have, what you think it's going to cost for each event, what we think the media rights are going to be. Here's the total cost. Here's the total economic impact, which will be a guess in a lot of ways. And then I would just feel more comfortable with it. And I think, honestly, it's better than just saying, I'm not comfortable giving you the full 100,000. I might be if I saw all that stuff before me, right? And I just think that would be more helpful. And especially, again, just being conscious of the funds that we're using and making sure they go to support. For me, my perspective would be, this looks great. I love the idea. I want more information from a financial budgeting perspective, and then we can make a right decision on what that dollar amount is. And I think too, I mean, not discounting the in-kind donation of the facility, what our cost is for public safety, what our cost is for janitorial services, and maybe it's more money, right? Maybe it is, like if that's what we decide. So for me, I wouldn't be supportive of doing anything right now until I had just a little bit more information, but that's kind of where it stands. But I think you guys are doing remarkable, and I know, again, flying the plane while you're building it, because, Kansas City hasn't been that helpful. I know we have been kind of the belle of the ball, so to speak, when it comes to what we're doing and how we're taking this on. So I'm not a no on 100. I'm not a yes on 100. I'm not a no on 25. I'm not a yes on 25. I just would like to see more laid out for us from a financial perspective. That's it. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember Lovell. Councilmember Funk.
Just one more question. Excuse me, at what Councilmember Lovell said. I know that in the beginning there was discussions, so the licensing is only for the TV production of the matches.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
have to do anything else to promote the FIFA stuff. I think we've already accomplished those. We have the rights to do all that. I know there were some discussions in the
Well,
beginning that you
yeah.
couldn't use FIFA.
There's a lot of rules around it, and you still can't. And so it's basically just to show the matches is all we're doing. We don't brand anything with FIFA. We don't have any rights to any of that.
Okay.
So it's basically just to show the matches.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Sure. Any other comments, questions? Oh, Councilmember Hodges.
Yeah. Just real quick, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I would agree with what Councilmember Lovell said. I would like a little more info. Not opposed, but I want more info to be able to be in support as well. But I do like the idea that Councilmember Shields brought up, because, I think you guys coming to, or not you guys, but us discussing about keeping the times open longer for our downtown businesses, for even the alcohol sales and all that kind of stuff. So there is the theme of wanting to promote our downtown businesses. So I feel like this is an amazing way to do that, because you guys are setting it up for success by doing that. More family friendly over here, and if people who take it serious want to go watch can go support our local downtown businesses. So I feel like it's a win-win all the way around. So I love the idea of her bringing that up. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think that would be a great generator for downtown in all aspects. And I think you guys are doing a wonderful job, and thank you for your guys' time on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've heard from almost everyone. Just one last chance, Councilmember Pryor, before I give my comments.
Okay, well, thank you guys. I've sat through some of your guys' meetings, and they can be long, and you guys are doing a great job. I'm in support of pretty much what everyone else has said. I'd like more information. I'm not opposed to a little more than 25,000 if it makes sense based on what we see, but yeah, so thanks.
Good. All right. I'll go really quick, and if you want to come back, I'll come back to some of you. So it goes without saying, thank you all. Thank you, all of you. Because I know there's been so much energy and time and effort put into this. I was involved in the first couple meetings, and I left you guys hanging, got busy. But it's definitely, the work you've done shows. So we're very, very grateful for that. And I think the good news is that I think when you're in sales, a no or a maybe is a good thing. No one's saying no. So I think everyone up here for sure sees the value and the logic behind it, and the fact that this is so important for our community and the whole spirit. And this is a once in a lifetime thing that the World Cup, I don't know, we may not get that back in the United States ever again, maybe in maybe a long time from now. So the fact that we have an opportunity in Lee Summit is a unique opportunity, and I think we should embrace that. So I agree with all my colleagues, so I won't repeat what they've said. But I do have a couple questions, Ms. Lake. So of the, I guess they're calling the park, the drop-off locations, the parking. Is there are there any fees or income generated from that for the city?
No,
There's not?
No.
There's no financial benefit to the city
Not at all.
that we're aware of?
No, not, other than just getting people, giving people the opportunity to come to the city if they choose to. But really, there's no fee for that. It is, but it is something that we are excited about having because that we know that that provides an opportunity for, if you think of some of the smaller communities, they may come sit in that park and ride and then take and park there and take the bus to Fan Fest. That might give them the opportunity to, spread some cheer around Lee's Summit. And then also having the second Connect KC 26 location directly into downtown. And so, that can help with people that come in on rail or people that just have been downtown and parked down here, to draw them back into the downtown area. So there's not a fee for that.
Right.
But
And
we
then
are excited
direct
about
kind of maybe return
Yeah,
on that.
yes.
Absolutely. We're going to have more people coming in that, for the most part, will be outsiders.
And then the benefit to our residents that don't want to,
Right.
hassle with parking down near Fan Fest. So
Okay.
that wanna
Okay.
go there.
So with everything that's been said, committee, again, you're not getting a no. I think there's a will for us to sit up here. I know the mayor's not here tonight. Timing's not necessarily critical. This does not have to be approved tonight, per se. So I think that's something that maybe if we could kind of flesh out what's been said already with a little bit more detail on the budget and maybe the specific other potential sponsors and partners that might be involved and kind of flesh that out a little bit and how that impacts the budget. I would say for you all to continue to work on that and then maybe come back whenever you're ready. And maybe by then FIFA will have the information we need.
Yeah, hopefully. And so really tonight was about, doing the presentation, letting you see what we were able to provide as a board, what the board was able to provide with the draw day event, and using that as a springboard for these 5 Football Fridays. Getting your feedback, that's why we included the sample PSA and a sample draft ordinance with the request, just so that you guys could look at that, refine that, give us that feedback. And so I think the board is probably taking a lot of notes over there. And what we're hearing is really trying to dial in on the budget piece of it, and what the in-kind support has been to this point, what the other sponsorship, that line item of all those other sponsors that we have as a board. And then hopefully, like you said, as more information is trickling out, I think, base camps and those things are going to start being announced. And so then hopefully maybe FIFA gets more dialed in and starts releasing some more information related to the actual fees for licensure to show matches. So
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and the fact that you're wanting to showcase Green Street, I think we're all supportive of that, without a doubt. So,
Gotcha. So
Yep.
I think we know our marching orders and the work we need to do. So
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to say thanks for helping us be prepared and our community be prepared for everything, just being forward-thinking, so we appreciate it.
Collaboration, right?
You bet.
I think I heard that a couple times. So thank you all. All right, we'll proceed with the agenda. So I believe we have a resolution that will be read by our city clerk.
Resolution number 2601, a resolution authorizing the mayor to appoint successor directors to the Blue Parkway and Colbern Road Community Improvement District.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Hodges and a second by Councilmember Shields. Do we have any questions or comments? If not, please cast your vote. Great, motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Thank you. Takes us to agenda item number 7A, and I will have Councilmember Shields. Can you please read bill number 26-015?
Thank you. I move for second reading of bill number 26-015, an ordinance approving a sole source agreement with ITpipes Opco LLC to extend their current professional services agreement for sewer inspection, video software, and associated maintenance for another 5 years, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same for the city.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Shields and a second from Councilmember Hodges for second reading of bill number 26-015. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote.
So I can read for adoption.
Yes, please read for adoption.
I now move for adoption of bill number 26-015, an ordinance approving a sole source agreement with ITpipes Opco LLC to extend their current professional services agreement for sewer inspection, video software, and associated maintenance for another 5 years, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same for the city.
Thank you. Have a motion from Councilmember Shields and a second from Councilmember Hodges to adopt bill number 26-015. Any discussion? If not, please cast your vote. Bill is adopted. Thank you, 7-0. Please record that vote. Takes us to action item, or number 7B, please. Councilmember Pryor, please.
Thank you. I move to advance to a second reading, Bill number 26-016, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 205 for Bowlin Tank Recoating to Cunningham Sandblasting Painting Co. in the amount of $677,100 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilmember Pryor and a second from Councilmember Hodges for a second reading of Bill number 26-016. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. I move for adoption, Bill number 26-016, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 205 for the Bowlin Road Tank Recoating to Cunningham Sandblasting and Painting Company in the amount of $677,100 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
I have a motion from Councilmember Pryor and a second from Councilmember Hodges to adopt Bill number 26-016. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Bill number 26-016 is adopted. Thank you. Takes us to item number 7C, Councilmember Lovell.
Thank you. I move to advance the second reading Bill number 26-017, an ordinance approving the award of RFQ 2026-016 to HDR Engineering Incorporated, Burns and McDonnell Inc, and to George Butler Associates Incorporated for on-call yearly engineering services for water and wastewater for a 1 year with 2 possible 1-year renewal options, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Lovell and a second from Councilmember Hodges for second reading of Bill number 26-017. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Councilmember Lovell.
I move for adoption Bill number 26-017, an ordinance approving the award of RFQ 2026-016 to HDR Engineering Incorporated and Burns and McDonnell Incorporated, and to George Butler Associates Incorporated for on-call yearly engineering services for water and wastewater for a 1 year with 2 possible 1-year renewal options, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Lovell and a second from Councilmember Shields to adopt Bill number 26-017. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Takes us to action item number 7D. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading an ordinance approving change order number 2 to the agreement for the construction of project number 722 for the water main replacement FY24 project to Leath Sons and for an increase in the contract price amount of $730,569.17 for a revised agreement amount of $5,222,412.17 and an increase of 56 calendar days in association with said work to the agreement, and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Funk and a second from Councilmember Hodges for reading Bill number 26-018. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Lovell.
I'm going to be recusing myself due to a conflict.
Okay, thank you. That being said, please cast your vote. Motion passes 6 yes, 1 recusal. 1 recusal. Thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move for adoption Bill number 26-018, an ordinance approving change order number 2 to the agreement for the construction of project number 722 for the water main replacement FY24 project to Leath Sons Inc, and for an increase in the contract price of $730,569.17 for a revised agreement amount of $5,222,412.17, an increase of 56 calendar days in association with the said work to the agreement, and authorizing the city manager to execute agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Funk and a second from Councilmember Hodges to adopt Bill number 26-018. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 5 yes, 1 recusal, and, someone left the room. So thank you. Please record that vote. takes us to action item number 7E. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you. I move for second reading of Bill number 26-019, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 117 for the Olive and Orchard Street and Storm Sewer Improvement from Douglas Street to Chipman Road to VF Anderson Builders in the amount of $5,430,314 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Shields and a second from Councilmember Funk for a second reading Bill number 26-019. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you. I move for adoption of Bill number 26-019, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 117 for the Olive and Orchard Street and Storm Sewer Improvements from Douglas Street to Chipman Road to VF Anderson Builders in the amount of $5,430,314 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Shields and a second from Councilmember Hodges to adopt Bill number 26-019. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Takes us to item number 7F. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you. I move to second reading Bill number 26-020, an ordinance approving a sole source agreement between the City of Lee's Summit and Versa Governmental Strategies, LLC for the federal lobbying services in the amount not to exceed $50,000 and authorizing the city manager to execute the same by and on behalf of the city.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Rader and a second from Councilmember Hodges for a second reading of Bill number 26-020. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Shields.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that this is something we've been discussing in, I believe, Intergovernmental Relations Committee for a while. This is to add federal lobbying services to our existing state lobbying contract. That group has done a good job for us at the state, and we thought it would be a good idea to expand those services, at least to try this out for a year or two and see how it goes, since we have some high priority federal projects such as 470 improvements that we think it could be useful to have someone being our voice in Washington, D.C. as well as Jeff City. So I just wanted to say that, because it's a little bit of an unusual one to come before us. So thank you.
Thank you. Well said. That being said, any other questions? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you. I move for adoption an ordinance approving a sole source agreement between the City of Lee's Summit and Versa Governmental Strategies, LLC for federal lobbying services in the amount not to exceed $50,000 and authorizing the city manager to execute the same by and on behalf of the city.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Rader and a second from Councilmember Shields to adopt Bill number 26-020. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Please record that vote. All right, takes us to proposed ordinances, item 8A for second reading. Councilmember Hodges, please.
I move for adoption Bill number 26-004, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for land located at 740 Northwest Ward Road for Les Schwab Tire Center, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee's Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Hodges and a second from Councilmember Funk to adopt Bill number 26-004. Any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Shields.
Yeah, so we had continued this at our last council meeting since we didn't have a full body present, and I think there was maybe some desire to continue this again since we have a couple of members out again, and this had been kind of a close vote. So I don't know if it's appropriate to make a motion to continue at this point. Can I do that while the motion's on the floor for adoption?
Yes, it's a privileged motion to table.
Okay.
Okay, so
To table or to continue to a date certain?
Either one is appropriate in this circumstance.
Okay. Well, I'd like to offer a motion to continue this Bill 26-004 to a date certain of February 3rd, 2026.
So while the motion is on the table, we have another council member that wants to make a comment. So can they do the comment now? Okay, Councilmember Rader.
Thank you. I am going to change my vote to a yes. Upon further examination of this, I decided that although I don't believe this is in the best location, we do have a Valvoline there as well. I think they're a good company. They have, they indicated when they came before us that they were going to be involved in this, in our community, and I'm hoping they're going to honor that. So I'm going to change my vote to a yes, and I just wanted to indicate that. So we may not need to table unless.
I don't remember what the actual. Mr. Head?
Was the motion to table or motion to continue seconded?
No, it was not.
The motion can be declared dead for lack of a second, and then you can move on to proceed with the main motion.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate that. If that's the case, then we'll go ahead and read it. All right. Then the motion's been made. We have discussed it. There's no other discussion. Let's go ahead and call the vote. Please cast your vote.
This is voting for adoption.
For adoption, that's right. Thank you. Motion passes 5-2. So the bill is adopted. Thank you very much. That takes us to committee reports. They're lining up. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you. So myself and Councilmember Lovell attended EDC today. Good meeting. There is a current vacancy on the board and in the executive, I forget what they call it, the leadership team, but we had been privileged enough to have Bob Chipman serving on our board. He was too good at his job and got promoted to a more regional position, so he had to step down from the board, so we'll be needing to fill that seat, and he was also serving as vice chair, I believe, so that seat's going to be open. So I just wanted to update the council about that, but there was some good discussion, and also they are preparing to give their, to make their annual report to us of their activities under the PSA, so. Mr. Dunning's nodding, so hopefully I didn't forget anything too important from today. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Today was our MARC TTPC Total Transportation Committee meeting. The committee reviewed the structure of roster announcements that will be coming out in the next week or two prior to the start of federal funding, and also with our partners with MARC and MoDOT. They are introducing some new tools that will provide some new public safety crash data for future road improvements.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Very helpful. Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. Last Wednesday, we had CEDC, and the Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Main Street Organization presented their recommendations to modify the carnivals at Downtown Days and Oktoberfest with specifics on if and how carnival providers could limit their rides to only those intended to younger kids. Both recommended changes to the carnival layout, chaperone policies, limits on hours of operation, such as close at 9 p.m. with ticket sales ending earlier, and narrowing the selection of rides to varying degree. So the CDC was generally comfortable with the recommendations presented. When the organizations submit their special event permit applications, staff will work with the applicant teams to ensure these recommendations are incorporated into their event plans. So it was a very successful meeting.
So does that come to council at some point?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. Thank you. Good work. Appreciate that. Takes us to council comments. Do we have any comments? You all have any energy left? I think there are no comments. All right, so staff roundtable, Mr. Dunning.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So last Friday, we came together as an organization to do what we call our all-hands meeting, and that's one time a year just to get together to reflect on the past year, touch on some of our accomplishments. Myself and the assistant city managers touched on many of those. There was a whole list of those with the organization, and it's also a time where we recognize our employees of the year. And I sent you an email on this Friday, but I wanted to publicly, announce those award winners. We do this based on our core values. So we have recognition on stewardship, we have one on integrity, and one on service excellence. And then also we have one on a team award of the year, team effort to accomplish something, and then we have one on leadership. So nominations come in from across departments, right? There's employees of the year within those departments, and then they all go into the pool for organizational consideration. So the team award this year was for our Workday team. That is a massive effort. That's our enterprise resource planning tool, financial backbone, HR backbone, just a massive effort. So they were recognized for the team award. Our leadership award was Corey Day, Executive Director of Explore LS, for all of her efforts starting a new organization, having World Cup placed on her plate, and then also Green Street too, the opening and all the opening events that occurred with Green Street. So she was for leadership. Stewardship was Jarrett Loffrey in Police Department, facility technician for the Police Department for stewardship. Bryce Lawson for Integrity Award. He's a construction project manager in our Public Works Department. And then for Service Excellence, Jamie Taylor. He's long served this community in fire, and he's in police as a radio systems specialist for his Service Excellence. So wanted to mention those employees, and you know, if any of you know them, please congratulate them on some excellent work here on behalf of the community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Congratulations to all of them, for sure. So with that being said, if there's no new business, then this meeting is adjourned.